How to Train Your Dragon versus How to Train Your Dragon 2 versus How to Train Your Dragon 3. Yes, it's Easter, but the reason I decided to release it today is because the first film is 14 years old today. Also, the remake's coming out next year. Plus, it's the year of the dragon, so why not? Hope you will enjoy. Round 1 main plot. In the first film, Vikings and dragons are at war, and a young Viking named Hiccup was to be won to his tribe, but then he ends up befriending the mysterious Night Fury. This is a good plot. In the sequel, there's a new threat called Drago, and Hiccup hopes to change his mind to protect dragons and prevent the war. And along the way, he ends up meeting the mysterious dragon thief, aka Protector, his own mother. This is a good plot. Out of the trilogy, it's the darkest. And in the third film, when the new threat Grimmel threatens to disturb the peace between humans and dragons, they have to leave in order to search for the hidden world to be safe. And along the way, Toothless falls in love with a light fury. This is a good plot. Though a warning to those who haven't seen it, the ending's a bit sad. So yeah, all these plots are good, but if I had to choose, which is sometimes hard to do, I feel like I just still go for the one that used to be my favourite, and still is. So the winner for this round is How to Train Your Dragon 2. Round 2 characters. In the first film, you got the twins Tough Nut and Rough Nut, who of course act like most siblings would. One of my favourite characters from the franchise, the dragon expert Fish Legs. Not Loud, who takes a bit of pride in himself at times and tries to impress Astrid. Speaking of which, the very Viking you would want to make mad, who Hiccup and Snotloud both had a crush on, but I'm sure you all know which boy she chose. Hiccup's mentor, Gobber, who was in charge of preparing the kids to kill dragons. Hiccup's dad and Chief Jaburk, Stoic, who wasn't exactly the best dad ever, but he improves later on. And finally, the awkward one-legged Viking himself, Hiccup, who, along with Fish Legs, is my favourite human character in the franchise. These are all fun characters. In the sequel, you of course got the same group of characters, but of course, sadly, as most would know, one doesn't make it to the end. You got new characters like Erit, apparently son of Erit, who was a former dragon trapper to Drago before he reformed. And of course you got Hiccup's long-lost mother, Falca. These are good fun characters as well. And of course in the third film it's the same group of characters minus one. So yeah, as always, good fun characters. If I had to choose though, I feel like I would have to go for the sequel. So yep, once again the sequel's the winner. Round 3 Dragons. In the first film you got Stormfly, Meatblood, Cutfang and Barf and Belch, though they aren't named until later on in the franchise. Excluding Toothless out of this group, Stormfly is my favourite. Speaking of which, next is the unholy offspring of Lightning and Death himself. Toothless is not like other dragons, he's basically a big cat with wings. So yeah, these are of course good dragon characters. In the sequel, you of course got the same group of dragons, excluding Toothless have a bit more personality. But there's also new dragons like Falca, Stormcutter, Cloudjumper, Skullcrusher and Grub. The Rick and Copper's dragons, for those who don't know, first appeared in Wasted the Edge. And Falca's Bewildebeest, who was originally the alpha to all dragons. still good fun dragons. And in the third film, of course, the original dragons return, but who would I be if I didn't mention Meatloaf's baby, Fish Meat, who of course, like any baby, is cute. You got Grimmel's Death Grippers, who were drugged into obedience with their own venom. As a dragon lover, I can straight out tell you that is not how you train a dragon. And finally, you got Toothless love interest, the Light Fury, who was pretty distrustful of humans. So yep, still good dragon characters, but if I had to choose, I feel like I would have to say the sequel. So yeah, like the human characters, How to Train Your Dragon 2 wins this round. Round 4, Villain. In the first film, you got the Red Death, who acted like a tyrant to the other dragons, demanding they bring back food for her, and if they don't, she'll eat them. So yep, not the kind of dragon you want to mess with. In the sequel, you got Drago and his bewildebeest, who, as an alpha dragon, he uses to control the dragons to build his army, though the dragon's not as evil as his master is, and it's possible he used harsh tactics to get him to obey the man. And in the third film, you got the Night Fury killer, Grimmel. He's what Hiccup would have become if he read through with killing Toothless. When I first saw the film, he definitely got my attention since he managed to bring a rumble horn down in seconds. And like I mentioned earlier, he used the Death Gripper's own venom to control them. So yeah, all three of these villains are nice. But this guy definitely got my attention. So for a change, the winner is How to Train Your Dragon 3. Round 5, Comedy. In the first film, there's like gross out but can be funny humour. With what Hiccup had to do, you're disgusted, but it can be a bit funny. There wasn't really anything in the film that made me laugh out loud though. In the sequel, despite being the darkest one, there can be some funny bits. Like in the first film, there was nothing that really made me laugh out loud. But of course, Toothless is always funny and adorable. You just got to love him. In the third film, though, specifically this scene was funny. Toothless is just a goofball, and the Light Fury was probably thinking, "What's wrong with you?" and getting a bit scared. She never seen a dance like this before. And even though Grimmel's an evil man, I bet none of you wish such a cruel punishment on your own worst enemy.
I mean, mine's long, but yours is really long. All face and no brain, like you got stretched at birth. Do you have a twin too? Tough nut took up all the room in Mom's belly. Otherwise, I'd have a rounder head and more brains. That's science. My braids are like little zipplebacks, see? Yeah! Even the mold spots look like eyes. It's so cute. They even have little horns and everything, just like Barf and Belch. Except me and Barf can't stand Belch, so they're really just barfs. It's warm in here. I know what you're thinking. You've never had a prisoner this hot. Oops, you let the dragons out. I'm gonna get you. I'm gonna get you. No, this one's gonna get you.
So yeah, the only time I felt bad for Grimmel. So yeah, as you can probably work out, the third film in my opinion is the funniest. So yeah, once again, the third film's the winner. But as you can guess, the overall winner is How to Train Your Dragon 2. The end, hope you all enjoyed.